Now, starting with the classification of the nerve fibers and continuing with the introduction to the CNS physiology, it is divided. The classification is depending upon the structure, first upon the distribution, origin, function, and the secretion of the neurotransmitters, and of course, the diameter and the velocity of the conduction. So, if we talk about depending upon the structure, it is myelinated or non myelinated. Depending upon the distribution, either it is somatic or it is visceral. Upon the origin, whether it is originating from the cranium, which are the cranial nerves, and originating from the spinal cord, the spinal nerves. Depending upon the function, we have the sensory nerve fibers, which are actually receiving the sensory stimuli, going to the CNS and processing, and the motor nerve fibers, which is actually carrying the motor responses to the effector organs. Then we have the secretion of the neurotransmitter, whether they are cholinergic or adrenergic. Cholinergic means the neurotransmitter is acetylcholine, and adrenergic, the neurotransmitter is noradrenaline. Now, the most important classification is the Erlanger-Gasser classification, which is very commonly asked in Viva, which is dependent on the diameter and the conduction of the velocity of the conduction of the impulse. Now, as you can see, the diameter is decreasing from the A alpha fiber till the C fiber. Now, the A and the B fibers, they both are myelinated fibers, but the C fiber is non-myelinated. So, the first reason here pe rules out that the C fiber, because of its non-myelination, the conduction is very slow. So, as you can see, the velocity of conduction is very less for the C fiber. Also, one thing you can make out is that जैसे जैसे आपका diameter is decreasing, ऐसे वैसे आपका velocity of conduction is also decreasing. So the diameter is quite proportional to the velocity of the conduction. Now the A alpha fibers, they convey the proprioceptive impulses. Now proprioceptive impulses means that these impulses, it gives an idea to brain about what position our body is in according to the gravity. So if we are leaning forward, if we are leaning backward, if we are standing straight, what is the position of our body in respect to the gravity? Now A beta fibers, they convey the touch and the pressure sensations. A gamma, it supplies the intrafusal muscle spindles, muscle fiber. Now I hope that you all know about the intrafusal and the extrafusal muscle fibers, which has this topic has already been covered way back. Now the A delta, it conveys the sensations of the sharp pricking pain and of course the temperature sensations also. Now group C fibers, because of its less velocity of the conduction, it conveys the sensation of the burning and the dull aching pain. So the sharp pain it's not conducted by the group C fibers. It is the dull pain is conducted by the group C fibers. Now coming on to the nerve injury. So there is a scientist known as Seddon. It classified the nerve injury into three categories: neuropraxia, exantemesis, and neurontemesis, which provides a basis for the assessment, for the prognosis, and for the treatment. Now, when a nerve fiber is injured, the various changes occurs, and all these changes को nerve injury में हम बोलते हैं degenerative changes. Now coming on to the neuropraxia, which is the first degree. Now the neuropraxia, it simply means it is the most mild injury to a nerve which is caused by a transient compression or a stretch. It is caused by a stretch or it could be a transient compression. Transient means only for a short period of time. The loss of the nerve function results from conduction block, because there is the conduction block because यहाँ पे नर्व फंक्शन का लॉस हो चुका है, तो कंडक्शन प्रॉपर्टी नर्व उस पर्टिकुलर नर्व की जा चुकी है. दैट इज़ वाई इसको बोलते हैं हम लोग कंडक्शन ब्लॉक, बिकॉज इट इज़ कॉज्ड बाय अप्लाइंग प्रेशर की वजह से ऑक्लूजन हुआ ब्लड का एंड हाइपोक्सिया हुआ. द एक्सॉन लूजेज द फंक्शन एंड इट्स कॉल्ड एज कंडक्शन ब्लॉक. द पैरालिसिस ऑफ द मसल्स इनर्वेटेड बाय द नर्व इज कंप्लीट. ओके, तो पैरालिसिस हो जाता है उस मसल्स का विच इज इनर्वेटेड बाय द नर्व इज कंप्लीट, बट सम सेंसेशन मे बी प्रिजर्व्ड. नाउ ऑटोनॉमिक फंक्शन मे ऑल्सो बी प्रिजर्व. दिस टाइप ऑफ इंजरी विल रिकवर कम्प्लीटली प्रोवाइडिंग द कॉज. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर ऑनगोइंग कंप्रेशन अगर रिमूव कर दिया जाता है तो इट विल रिकवर. So this this first degree of injury को बोलते हैं हम न्यूरोप्रैक्सिया. The second degree is known as the axontemesis, which means axon divided. इसका मतलब होता है axon divided. न्यूरोप्रैक्सिया का मतलब होता है nerve not working. Axontemesis, layman term, we can say axon is divided. Now it results from a more severe blunt injury to a nerve. This is sufficient to cause the axon degeneration, but the connective tissue layers of the nerve, which is including the endoneural tubes, they remain intact. सो एक्सॉन का डिजनरेशन होगा, बट जो कनेक्टिव टिश्यू लेयर है जो नर्व की, दैट इज द एंडोनेरियम जो ट्यूब्स होती हैं जो अभी हमने डायग्राम में देखी थी, दे रिमेन इंटैक्ट. सो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, द एक्सॉन इज डिवाइडेड बट द एंडोनेरियल शीथ इज कंटिन्यूस. तो जब शीथ इंटैक्ट रहेगी तो रिजनरेटिंग एक्सॉन कैन ईजिली ग्रो इनटू इट. सो यहाँ पे भी रिकवरी इज ओनली गुड. Now, since the axon distal to the site of injury have undergone Wallerian degeneration, conduction is lost both at and distal to the site of injury. तो इसको हम इस degeneration को हम बोलते हैं Wallerian degeneration. We call it as Wallerian or the orthograde degeneration. Now, because the axons distal to the site of injury, तो जो भी साइट ऑफ इंजरी है उसके डिस्टल साइड पे जो भी होता है, दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड एज ऑर्थोग्रेड. अगर पहले होता तो उसको हम बोलते हैं रेट्रोग्रेड. Providing the cause is removed, the uncomplicated regeneration of the axons occurs along the same pathway will occur, with recovery of function progressing from proximal to distal. Now we have the third degree जिसको हम बोलते हैं neurotemesis. Now neurotemesis मतलब whole nerve is divided. It is a situation where a nerve is completely divided or so badly disorganized that recovery cannot occur. All the connective tissue layers of the nerve as well as the axons, they are completely destroyed. There is axon degeneration distal to the injury. Neurotemesis may be caused by laceration or a high energy traction injury which is sufficient to rupture a nerve, or could be injection of the noxious drugs or ischemia may destroy a nerve. So this is the third degree of the nerve injury जिसको हम बोलते हैं neurotemesis. The recovery rate is quite negligible. Now, if I talk about the Wallerian or the orthograde degeneration, now, Wallerian degeneration is an active process of degeneration that results whenever a nerve fiber is cut or crushed and the part of the axon which is distal to the injury, it degenerates. Now, it occurs after axonal injury in both the peripheral nervous system and in the central nervous system. So, always remember it occurs in the section of the axon which is distal to the site of injury and usually begins within 24-36 hours of a lesion. Prior to degeneration, the distal section of the axon tends to remain electrically excitable. After injury, the axonal skeleton will disintegrate and the axonal membrane it breaks apart. Then, axonal degeneration is followed by degradation of the myelin sheath and infiltration by the macrophages. Then they are accompanied by the Schwann cells, which Schwann cells clear the debris from the degeneration. So first, what thing happens? पहले चीज होगी एक्सॉन का डिजनरेशन. सो एक्सेस सिलेंडर इट स्वेल्स अप एंड ब्रेक्स अप इनटू स्मॉल पीसेस जिसको हम बोलेंगे डेब्रे. ओके, नाउ उसके बाद सेकंड थिंग व्हाट इज हैपनिंग आफ्टर द एक्सॉन डिजनरेशन, माइलिन का डिजनरेशन. सो माइलिन शीथ इज स्लोली डिसइंटीग्रेटेड. सो चेंजेस इन माइलिन शीथ अकर ऑलमोस्ट फ्रॉम द 8th day to 35th day. नाउ डिजनरेशन ऑफ माइलिन शीथ एंड द ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ द एक्सेस सिलेंडर. द थर्ड थिंग आफ्टर जैसे ही माइलिन शीथ डिस्टर्ब होगी तो न्यूरोलेमल शीथ इज अनअफेक्टेड, but जो Schwann cells हैं they come into play and they multiply. So and they clear the debris. How? By getting the macrophages which invade from outside and remove the debris and the fat droplets. So neurolemal tube is completely empty. Later it is filled by cytoplasm of the Schwann cells. So Schwann cells respond to loss of the axon by exclusion of the myelin sheath, downregulation of the myelin genes and proliferate. They help in proliferation. So within the 4 days of the injury, the distal end of the portion of the nerve fiber proximal to the lesion. Understand, within 4 days of the injury, the distal end of the portion of the nerve fiber which is proximal to the lesion. तो lesion के जो proximal है, that distal end, it sends out sprouts toward those tubes and these sprouts are attracted by growth factors which is produced again by the Schwann cells in the tubes. So Schwann cells play a very good role in actually recovering this degeneration. Now, what are glial cells? So, neuroglia means nerve glue. That means it connects the nerve structures. And the neurons in the glia, they are both called as bricks and mortar of a nervous system. So, they are non-neural cells that maintain the homeostasis. They form myelin. They provide support and protection for the neurons in the central and the peripheral nervous system. Neuroglia in the CNS, it includes astrocytes. It includes, see, these are the functions of the neuroglia. So it helps in support, it insulates the neural structure, it produces myelin, it transports the nutrient, it acts as scavengers which digest the dead neurons. Also housekeeping function which regulate the content of the extracellular space by mopping the extra excess ions and contribute to formation of the blood-brain barrier. Now we have a big classification, broad classification. We have macroglia and microglia. Macroglia may we have astrocytes which are also fibrous and fibrous and protoplasmic. Then we have oligodendrocytes and ependymal cells. So neuroglia in the CNS, it include astrocytes, microglial cells, ependymal cells and oligodendrocytes. Now these astrocytes, they are star shaped. They look like star shaped. They are star shaped branching glial cells, and their numerous radiating processes, they cling to neurons and their synaptic endings. So they cover nearly all the capillaries in the central nervous system. They support the neurons and anchor them to their nutrient supply lines. So they play an important role in making the exchanges between the capillaries and the neurons. They also regulate the external chemical environment of the neuron by removing the excess ions and recycling the neurotransmitters. So because they keep the neurons in contact with the blood supply, they form the blood-brain barrier. Also, they control the chemical environment. They support the neurons. Now coming on to the microglia, they are small and they have like thorny processes that can touch the neighboring neurons. They can transform into a special type of macrophage that can clear up the neural debris. Also, they monitor the health of the neurons by detecting the injuries to the neurons. And they almost make up 20% of the glial cells, and they get activated during an injury, infection or any seizure. The ependymal cells are another glial subtype which lines the ventricle of the central nervous system. It forms a permeable barrier between the CSF and the underlying cells and help in the circulation of CSF through the ciliary beat. So with the help of the beating of the cilia, it helps to circulate the CSF. Then we have the oligodendrocyte, which are cells that have fewer processes compared to astrocyte. They line up along the nerve fibers in the CNS and they wrap the processes tightly around the fibers, producing the insulating myelin sheath. Then the बात करते हैं neuroglia of the PNS. Then we have satellite cells in the Schwann cells. The Schwann cells are similar in function to oligodendrocytes. So remember, the Schwann cells, they form myelin in the peripheral nervous system. So the Schwann cells, they're similar to function oligodendrocyte. They provide myelination. They also have phagocytic activity which clears cellular debris and allow for the regrowth of the PNS neurons. Satellite cells are similar in function to astrocytes that surround the neurons in sensory, sympathetic, parasympathetic ganglia. They regulate the external chemical environment. So they are highly sensitive to injury and inflammation, and they appear to contribute to any stress. Now, another topic which is very, very important which is synapse. So they transmit and process the information across the junctions. Transmission is only one way. So as you can see in this diagram, because the neurotransmitters, they can be excitatory or they can be inhibitory. So the excited neurotransmitters, which is the plus sign, it is giving the excitatory signal to the another neuron with the help of the excited neurotransmitter, for example the glutamate, and we have the inhibitory neurotransmitter like GABA or glycine. The types of synapses, we have exodendritic, exosomatic, exoexonic and dendrodendritic. Going by their name, which simply means that exodendritic, it's connecting the axon to the dendrite. Exosomatic is connecting the axon to the cell body. Exoexonic is connecting the axon to the axon. And dendrodendritic, of course, from a dendrite to a dendrite. Now there are two types of connection between the electrically active cells. We have chemical synapse and electrical synapse. Now in electrical synapse, there is a direct connection between the two cells so that the ions can pass directly from one cell to the next. If one cell is depolarized in an electrical synapse, the adjacent cell subsequently depolarizes because the ions pass between the cell through the gap junctions, and the gap between the two cells is very small. It's like 3.5 nanometer. And for example, the electrical synapses are present in the smooth muscle fibers of the intestine, in the cardiac muscle fibers, also in the epithelial cells of the lens in the eye. Now, the chemical synapse, a chemical signal, namely a neurotransmitter, is released from one cell and it binds to a receptor on the other cell. So the area between the two synapses, from the presynaptic and the postsynaptic, there is an area known as synaptic cleft, which is 20 to 50 nanometer wide. So the presynaptic element is the motor neurons ka axon terminal. The neurotransmitter is for example, is the acetylcholine, and the synaptic cleft is the space between the cell where the neurotransmitter is diffused. The receptor protein is from the acetylcholine is the nicotinic cholinergic receptor. The postsynaptic element is the motor end plate of the sarcolemma, and the neurotransmitter is broken down by the acetylcholine esterase. So, as you can see very well in this diagram, there is an action potential wherever it reaches the axon terminal. Voltage gated calcium channels are open. I'll show you in this diagram. See, the voltage gated calcium channels are open in the membrane of the synaptic end bulb open. The concentration of the calcium increases inside the end bulb, and the calcium ion associate with the protein in the outer surface of the neurotransmitter vesicles. The calcium help in the merging of the vesicle with the presynaptic membrane so that the neurotransmitter is released through the exocytosis. कौन से एरिया में? सिनेप्टिक क्लेफ्ट में. Once in the synaptic cleft, the neurotransmitter diffuses the short distance to a postsynaptic membrane and it binds to respective receptors. Now they are specific for the neurotransmitter and the two fit together like a lock and key. And then what happened when it diffuses across synaptic cleft and they bind to receptors, and hence finally the action potential is reached and the muscle is activated. So coming on to the properties of synapse, one-way conduction, which is also known as Bell-Megendy law, because it states that the transmission or the impulse transmission is only in one direction. Synaptic delay, it can occur due to many reasons. Maybe release of the neurotransmitter is taking time, maybe the passage of neurotransmitter is taking time, or the action of neurotransmitter to open the ionic channels in the postsynaptic membrane is taking time. Normal duration of synaptic delay is 0.3 to 0.5 millisecond. Then another feature is fatigue. During continuous muscular activity, the synapse gets fatigue. Depletion of acetylcholine occurs because of the acetylcholine esterase which is present in the synaptic cleft, and due to the continuous action of the muscle, new acetylcholine is not synthesized according to that speed. Now another feature जिसको हम बोलते हैं summation. Now what happens? It is the fusion of the effects or the progressive increase in the excitatory postsynaptic potential. ये कब होएगा? या तो बहुत सारे प्री सिनेप्टिक एक्साइटेटरी टर्मिनल्स को एक साथ स्टिमुलेट करेंगे. सी इन द फर्स्ट डायग्राम, इसको बोलते हैं स्पेशल समेशंस. व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? साइमल्टेनियस स्टिमुलेशन ऑफ मेनी प्री सिनेप्टिक टर्मिनल्स. सो what will happen? All the gridded potentials, so what they summate together, they add together. The combined effect is known as summation. They summate at a specific location at the beginning of the axon to initiate the action potential. For sensory neuron, the initial segment is adjacent to the dendritic ending, and for all the other neurons, this initial segment of the axon is found at the axon hillock, and it's where the summation takes place. These locations have a high density of voltage gated sodium channels which initiate the depolarizing phase of the action potential. So axon hillock पे maximum हो सकता है. Now of course it can be called as spatial or temporal, meaning it can be the result of multiple gridded potential occurring simultaneously at different locations on the neuron, which is जिसको हम बोलते हैं, यहाँ पे आप डायग्राम में देख रहे हो, spatial. क्या होगा? Multiple gridded potentials occurring simultaneously at different locations on the neuron, or all at the same place but in the rapid succession. So when only single presynaptic terminal is stimulated repeatedly but in rapid succession. So spatial and temporal summation, they can act together as well also. So summation is the total change in the voltage due to all the spatial and the temporal gridded potential that reach the trigger zone or the initial segment at each moment. Another feature of synapse is divergence or convergence. In divergence, what you can see in the diagram is very well clear that one presynaptic terminal is having a synapse with many postsynaptic neurons or postsynaptic terminal. Convergence में what is happening? Many presynaptic axons, they are forming a synapse with only one postsynaptic axon terminal. Now coming on to the pre and the postsynaptic inhibition. So always remember that an inhibitory presynaptic inhibition, it always reduces the action potential which reaches the terminal. So presynaptic inhibition always reduces the action potential. So it is an inhibitory input to a neuron that makes it less likely to fire an action potential. Okay. And the main neurotransmitter is generally GABA. अब इसका रोल क्या होता है द presynaptic inhibition का? Somatosensory neurons, they constantly provide information about the body's current state. Could be temperature, could be pain. Now all these influx या फिर जो भी information आ रही है, it is subject to modulation. तो हम इस information को या तो हम enhance कर सकते हैं, बढ़ा सकते हैं, या फिर diminish कर सकते हैं stimuli को. Now because there are unlimited stimuli at given point to feel, it is very imperative that these signals are appropriately filtered and they compressed. तो कुछ स्टिमुलाई को डिमिनिश करने की उसमें कुछ स्टिमुलाई को डिमिनिश करने के लिए प्राइमरी एफरेंट्स रिसीव इनहिबिटरी इनपुट जनरली फ्रॉम गाबा और फ्रॉम ग्लाइसिन टू रिड्यूस द सिनेप्टिक आउटपुट. नाउ दिस इज द मेन feature of the presynaptic inhibition. सो अब अगर इसमें इनहिबिटरी न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर आ रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ द गाबा, तो जैसे ही गाबा के रिसेप्टर चैनल्स होंगे, what will happen? The action potential cannot reach the terminal. So the depolarized membrane, it causes the inactivation of the voltage gated sodium channel on the terminal, and therefore the action potential is prevented from propagating. It causes inactivation of the voltage gated calcium channel, preventing the calcium influx at the synapse, which is very very important for neurotransmission. Now पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक इनिबिशन की बात करते हैं अगर, सो इनिबिटरी पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक it is a type of a direct or indirect inhibition. This also increases the chloride conductance and also reduces the action potential. So how does this postsynaptic inhibition take place is, the first thing, action potential आया, calcium channels open हुए, influx हुआ calcium channels का, opening of the vesicles and release of the GABA neurotransmitter. Now once it goes through the synaptic cleft, it forms a complex with its respective receptor. Now opening of the potassium and the efflux of potassium into ECF and opening of chloride and influx of the chlorine into neuron. अब जितनी नेगेटिविटी इनसाइड पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक न्यूरॉन होगी उसकी वजह से क्या होगा, हाइपर पोलराइजेशन, जिसको हम बोलते हैं इनिबिटरी पोस्ट सिनेप्टिक पोटेंशियल IPSP, which causes the inhibition of the synaptic transmission. Now normally during synaptic transmission, action potential reaching the presynaptic neuron, it produces development of action potential in the postsynaptic neuron. But there is a presynaptic inhibitory neuron which forms an exoexonic synapse with the presynaptic neuron. Now this neuron will inhibit the presynaptic neuron and decreases the magnitude of action potential. जितना action potential small होगा, it will reduce the calcium influx, which decreases the quantity of neurotransmitter. So henceforth, at last, the magnitude of action potential is decreased. Now, the Renshaw cells, what do you mean by Renshaw cells? They are inhibitory interneurons. They are found in the grey matter of the spinal cord. Now, the Renshaw cells, they receive an excitatory collateral from the alpha neurons axon. From the alpha neurons axon as they emerge from the motor root. और इनको हमेशा information मिलती रहती है of how vigorously that neuron is firing. So they are inhibitory interneurons. Okay, they receive an excitatory collateral from the alpha neurons axon. So what happens? So they send an inhibitory axon to synapse with the cell body of the initial alpha motor neuron of the same motor pool. In this way, it will represent a negative feedback mechanism. Okay, तो पहले तो इसको excitatory information मिलेगी from the first alpha neuron axon as they emerge from the motor root through that excitatory collateral. Now it sends an inhibitory axon. तो पहले इसको excitatory मिलेगा information, then it gives to the inhibitory signal. To synapse, it's an inhibitory axon. So whenever the motor neurons send motor impulses, some of the impulses reach the Renshaw cell. Now it's an inhibitory impulses to the alpha motor neuron so that the discharge from the motor neuron is reduced. So in this way, it represents a negative feedback mechanism. So the main role of the Renshaw cell, because they act as governors, they govern the alpha motor neuron system to prevent the muscular damage from going into tetani, complete contraction. So body में हमेशा there should be a balance between a contraction and a relaxation. That is why it helps. And it utilizes neurotransmitter glycine as an inhibitory substance which synapse on the alpha motor neurons. So with this we finish your synapse and the neuroglia, and the synapse topic is a very very important question for your exam purpose. So you should be knowing complete about its the entire steps of how the action potential is generated, and also you should be knowing about what do you mean by chemical synapse, what do you mean by electrical synapse, and of course the mode of transmission from both of them.